Okay, to the audience, I'm live. So, welcome to my first cooking show. Kind of excited. And just so that there's no like screw ups, I'm gonna cook bologna. Because there can't be screw ups in bologna, right? Apparently, there can be, because when I was traveling, oh, let me position this a little bit better. I've been switching the camera around the entire time. Okay. So when I was traveling Unamagi in my adventures, oops, I better turn that off until we're ready so I don't burn the house down. Okay, it's all good. As I was saying, when I was traveling, it's still not a good position. How's that? How's that? Good? Okay. Okay, so I have a funny story. When I was traveling through Unamagi, I was staying at my friend's place in Membertou, and I thought I'd be great and wonderful and get up and make, as a thank you gift, make breakfast. So they had bologna, and I don't know why it's not just a First Nation culture for cooking, because my kids love fried bologna. But anyway, I hadn't cooked it in like a number of years, and I don't remember ever cooking it. But I knew just from traveling that, this was part of tradition, right? Making breakfast, fried bologna. So anyway, I went all out. I made French toast, eggs, sunny side up, crispy around the edges, salt and pepper, the whole works. And then I put the bologna on the plate. Well, within a matter of moments of delivering the plates to my friends that morning in Membertou, people were gagging. And so I was like, what the hell? What's going on? And nobody wanted to tell me that it was because I had left the skin on the bologna. So now I know I'm always very particular that I make sure there's no skin on the bologna. It is what it is, right? And in East Coast Canada, it happens to be a notoriously great, fantastic go-to, right? What do you have with bologna? My kids love mashed potatoes. They'll eat mashed potatoes till it's coming out. They love mashed potatoes, and I have to disguise the vegetables though a little bit. So anyway, tonight, while we chit-chat, I'm gonna cut some bologna as an East Coast tradition and talk. So here we go. Say hello. Let me know where you're from. What's your, if you moved away from the Maritimes, and I promised you I would eat some bologna, so here we go. I'm going to have one little bite of not fried bologna and see how it tastes. And then I'm going to have a piece of fried. So here we go. I think I'd tweak it a little bit. You know what I would do with that? I would take the bologna, and I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I love maple syrup on like literally everything. So I'm going to take this piece of not cooked bologna and see if it tastes a little bit different. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, that's a little bit better, but not like, No. I think I'm going to fry it. So, here comes Chef Becca. Okay. I need some like AC/DC music or something, So I'm ready. How come there's no hearts? Come on, guys. Can you guys put up some hearts, please? Seriously. Okay. So I'm going to put on my apron. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's see if I can tweak this Canadian awesome recipe. Put on my glasses, get a little bit more serious here. Play me some AC/DC? No? Okay, no problem. Sing to me. Okay. Oh, I dropped some syrup on that. Okay. So, hold on now. Hold on now, boys. There we go. I'm going to turn the burner to medium heat. Martha Stewart, eat your heart out. And then I'm going to take the bologna and I'm going to prepare it. Okay. Then most important step is to take the skin off the bologna. Right? Take the skin off. Oh, don't let your pan smoke though. Okay. Now, then I'm going to cut the bologna. And I don't know, I read in a couple people's recipes from Cape Breton even that they like their bologna about a half an inch thick. So that's what I made it. Half an inch. Half an inch. And, oh wait, margarine. Margarine. Hi, Kristen Lee Francis Google. Hi, Terry McNeil. This calls for margarine. Hi, who's all on here? How come everyone's so quiet? It's my first cooking show. Can you guys not just thumbs up? Yay, Becca! Okay, well, I have to cook bologna and I need a few thumbs up. Oh, there we go. There we go. I see some. Okay, so always make sure you make music when you're cooking and then your food just tastes better. If you put a little bit of love into your cooking, it tastes better. How many people can relate to this? If somebody makes me a peanut butter sandwich, it tastes 100 times better than if I make it. Oui? Comprenez-vous? Okay, here we go. So this is how I learned on First Nation Reserves to make proper bologna and eggs. You take the butter and you put it in the pan, but it has to be hot. Like hot, because you just want to score the eggs and score the bologna, like make it crispy. Okay, but I forget if I put the eggs in first or the bologna. Bologna takes longer. Yes, Madala Wayne. Do I put the bologna in first or the eggs? Somebody please type in the comments. Hola. Okay. And I like to move them around like that game at the circus. Do you know what I mean? That's just my way of doing things. I know that's not what I was taught, but margarine or oil and bologna is the way to go because you want it to look a little bit crispy and Then there's this recipe called potato hash or something, and you put chopped potatoes, cheese, all that kind of stuff in there, and it's kind of cool. So right now, until somebody tells me different, I've got 51 viewers and nobody's saying anything? Okay, where's Andy Dennis when I need him? Kristen Lee Francis. All right, well, I'm going to make eggs now because I think that's what you're supposed to do is just move your bologna around. Oh, shit. Move your bologna around. And make sure it gets lots of grease, oil. Well, that looks nice and crispy, actually. That looks like, I don't know. I don't know if you ask if I was at a bologna restaurant for breakfast, does the waitress ask me, do you like your bologna medium rare, well done, or fully cooked? And I would say, well, I don't know. I like it crispy on both sides, right? So anyway, I'm going to turn this one over. 5-second rule. It's back in there. All is well. All is well. Okay, so next, come here. Oh, you know what? I was not taught this on during my travels in Unamagi, but I'm going to just do it anyway because I think that I can tweak this recipe with a little bit of my culture too, so I'm just going to do something like this. Oh, yeah, baby. Listen to that tiger roar. Oh. Oh. So guess what? That's right. Glad I did the dishes today. My little lobster clampy things. I just poured maple syrup. Yeah, I'm a little broke right now to buy the real thing, but I just poured Compliments maple syrup in my bologna, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It smells freaking awesome. How come it's so dark in here? There, I'm back. So it smells freaking awesome. And it's crispy around the edges, and it has a candleized maple syrup added touch to it. Hello, hello, and hello. Okay, now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to also tweak the culture of bologna making. I'm going to cook my eggs in that condensed connoisseur bologna maple syrup sauce. I'm going to cook my eggs in that, but always add, let me hear it, margarine or oil or grease or whatever. Okay, so I'm excited. This is so exciting. Okay, so I'm going to, my hands are clean, they're disinfected. I believe in a mother's love, applying her hands to actual texture of the food. Some people might be grossed out. I'm not. I'm going to reach in here and grab and scoop some grease and put it in with the love of my food. Here we go. Here we go. Not that much though, just a little bit. Okay. Sizzle, sizzle. Sizzle, sizzle. Okay, now I'm going to add the eggs. Alright. Here we go. Is that the right kind of sizzle? Yeah, it is. And I took the skin off the bologna. So, here we go. Oh, shoot. Okay. I kind of screwed that one up. Damn it. Darn it. Darn it, darn it. Okay, pretend you didn't see this. didn't see that, okay? Okay, let's try this again. More margarine. Okay, now make sure your heat is not too high. So I turn it down to like a 6, you know, somewhere around there. And then that's when you want to shake your bologna. Shake your bologna, like do the cha-cha-cha. And then that's when you want to add in your eggs. See, Martha Stewart can't keep up. Okay, so this time I am not going to break the yolk. I hope that bologna doesn't get too hot. Maybe I should put it up on the side or something, like stack it or something. There. Okay. It's perfect. It's like crystallizing. I can smell the wafts. Okay, so here we go. You hold the egg closer to the pan so that you do not break the yellow part. Watch. Learn. Oh, shit. See, it's bubbling, right? It's bubbling. You can even, like, if you want, you know, chop up a little bit of bologna and spices. Like, you know, I had a few chunks left over. Pop it in there, right? Make a stew. Make it like a bologna, you know, stew, right? Add some maple syrup. Now, this is a secret recipe, guys. You know what? I should be charging everyone for front row seats to this recipe. Really. Okay, so, so this is where things get fun, okay? This is where, you guys, if you want to write down the recipe, you can. If not, it's up to you. All I ask is be careful while you cook. Don't get too excited. Have fun. Put your love into it. And here we go. So I put bologna, the eggs in there, and now I'm going to add a few more things as the secret recipe. Like I said, I'll give it to you once, and that's about it. So we're going to take some goldfish, okay? We're going to take the goldfish, and we're going to add it into the bologna connoisseur sauce. So just like this, guys. Crush it, though. You know, as you do it, you want to crush your goldfish, right? So that you're just sprinkling the tops of the eggs with your goldfish. You don't want to, like, crush it. Really crush it, you know? Do you know what I mean by that? Get down and crush it, right? Because you want to make what's called a crispy topping to that. Okay? This gets elegant. I mean, people, if I cooked this in someplace in the cities, people would be paying up to $100 a plate for this, okay? So, then you want to take what's called pancake waffle mix. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like big, thick pancakes. I can't handle that sometimes. It's just too much bloaty in my tummy. So, this gives you still the taste of pancakes, but what it does is it mixes the aroma with the bologna, the goldfish, the eggs. You kind of get your, like, the perfect bite. Do you know what I mean by that? So what we're going to do is we're going to take pancake mix, all right? And we're going to open up the this. And I like to get the original kind, if you can get it at your local co-op, okay? And what you want to do is I'm going to take just a little bit of the pancake mix and just like a poof of Mary Poppins. Poof. That's all you want to do. You want to go like this. Poof. There's that waft again. I got pancakes, eggs, bologna. Darn it. Okay, so next thing you want to do now is layer it with one more egg, but you want to do this, I call it the Bumpty Dumpty Humpty Dumpty. You know why I do it? Because when you crack 2 eggs together, the synergy of those yolks and the whites combine, and they, from a chef's standard, they kind of intertwine and envelop the whole entire beeping dinner. So we're gonna, what it's called in chef's world is we're gonna intertwine bounce, okay? Our eggs. Here we go. You weren't supposed to see that. There we go. Intertwined. Okay, then we're going to add last 3 ingredients, guys. Okay, this is really important. It doesn't really matter, honestly. As long as you get the eggshells out of your, you know, jambalaya, it's okay. So now we're going to add celery salt. This here, guys, can you see it? Celery salt. And we're, sorry, celery seed. Celery seed. And what we're going to do is we're just going to like, there we go. We're just going to tap it into the dinner. Just like a little, there we go. Okay. Now, last but not least, here comes the secret ingredient. And it's kind of trippy, guys. It is kind of trippy. You know, it's hard to believe that all this can come together and make a fantastic dinner. So what I'm going to do is, have you ever been to the circus or the fair where you stand in line for hours? I know I did with my kids. It was called taco in a bag. So they would take nachos and put ground beef in there and cheese and sour cream and guacamole. Well, this is a version of taco in a bag, but it's breakfast hash in a bag. So you're going to take a bag of ketchup chips, okay, just like they do at the fair at the circus. $5 I would pay for each one. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Cinderella. Sweet. Okay, so I'm going to take the bag and I'm going to crush ketchup chips. Okay, like this. Then I'm going to take a couple goldfish, put them in the mix, kind of like a shake and bake, you know, thing. Okay, watch, very important. Crush it up. My stuff is getting crystallized right now with sugar and syrup and spices, especially the celery seed is really, it's an odd mix, but it's bringing out the best. So I'm going to crush the goldfish and the ketchup chips together. Okay. Here's my mix. I'm going to layer it. Okay, but here's the important part. I want 1 layer of dry, and I want the rest kind of soppy with syrup. Okay? So I'm going to put the syrup in the bag. Mix it around. Again, secret to everything. Oops, I gotta open that bag up. Secret to everything is always a little bit of grease. I know, don't get grossed out, but that's how it is. It is. And believe it or not, a little bit of pancake mix. Take that, poof, just in there, okay? Here comes our last and final layer of the breakfast supreme, I like to call it. I like to level it out though first, so if you have a potato masher, just level it out. Make sure your bologna has some egg on it, right? It's all mixed up. Because you want the, what I'm going for, guys, is you want like the perfect bite, right? So then here's our mix. This is what it looks like. It's kind of like a shake and bake mix. And I'm just going to put it all over top of here. Just one layer. Okay. I'm making 2 layers, but for right now, this is just what I'm making for now. This is like the breakfast supreme hash. Kraft singles. You guys know the cheese, man. I kid you not, this tastes amazing. Okay. I'm going to take 2 pieces of Kraft cheese. Put it there. Still, everyone's so quiet, but at least I got more viewers. That's cool. Okay, another piece. Put it there. Okay. Just let it melt, let it sit. I'm going to wash my hands and give that about 10 seconds. Okay, it's looking good. It's looking good. All right, I'm going to put our final layer on, but just like Subway or whoever you like, this is my final ingredient. It's a mayo kind of ketchup mayo mixed together. So I'm going to take this, and just like a Subway or something, you know, what do you want on yours? This is my preference. You don't have to put this on it. It's just my preference. So I'm just going to put it. Okay. And then I'm going to put my last layer of stuff on here. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of mash it down. I like my bologna tender. And I like my cheese melted. But that's just the way I like it. You can make it whatever way you want. Now, where'd they go? Oh, here we are. So, I'm going to rip my bread. It's toasted. It's got some butter on it. I'm going to scoop up what I want out of the dish. It's already mashed in all together. Actually, I don't like lots of bread, so I'm just going to do it like this. So good. I would have put a little bit of pepper in there and fried it, but I'll do it now. Pepper. There we go. Goldfish, ketchup chips, cheese, bologna. All right, let's just say hi to some viewers. Hold on. One more bite. Okay. Hey, Linda Latimer. hit the top left-hand corner of your phone and blow. I love you, Linda. Okay. Turn my oven off. What'd you think of that? I'm going to go back and say hi to my viewers now. I want to look as gangster as I can. God, I get picked apart on media some days. You fucking troll. You got bears on your eyes. You getting old. Anyway, okay. Linda. Kristen Lee Francis Gugu. Hey, mama, how you doing? Here we go. Let's go to the top. I'm going to sneeze because I poured that pepper on there. Lorette. How come I can't see anybody? I know I'm going to have lots of loves and hearts on this video, but for some reason I can't see you guys. Can you just test it? Can you hit the like or love button for a second, and so I can see if I can see the, that's why I love trying stuff out on my... My life just flashed before me. How come I can't see anything? I know. Okay. Oh, I gotta love. Wait. Oh, this is so nice. Awesome. There we go. I can see the comments. Yes! This is awesome. Okay. Like a typical old lady, eh? I gotta take my glasses off. Alright. Andy Dennis. I have never met Andy Dennis. They're Escazoni. Mark Gugu. Linda Latimer. Man, this actually looks bomb as fuck. Right, Greg? It's really good. I'm like, at first I was kind of playing around, but then I'm like, I'm gonna mess around with the audience a bit tonight and try it on you guys and see if you believed me. And then, do you want to know the truth? I made that up tonight as I went. And at the and at the very end, like the thing I knew that would blow you guys off and make you think she's totally bullshitting us was adding the celery seed. So then when I picked up the celery seed, I thought a lot of you guys, because you've seen the videos, right, that are trending right now on YouTube. If you have kids or grandkids, they're all watching them. And it's where, like, some chick, you know, she's usually pretty hot or something, and she picks up all these ingredients that look disgusting together, but somehow she makes something out of it. And it's really a prank, right? And people go and cook it and go, oh, it was, anyway. So tonight I was trying my version of that, Cape Breton style. You know, no props, no TikTok, no jumpies. And, I made that recipe. Linda will attest to this because Linda Latimer, she's probably laughing right now. She knows me so well. So I made that recipe as I went along, but I tried to uphold the like bold, right? Because I love what I love doing is my audience wondering like, okay, what is she doing right now? Is she serious? Is she telling the truth? Is she joking? Is she whatever? Because that's the whole point of media. You guys, you're not going to get to know me unless you really put in a genuine effort to get to know me. I'm not just going to be all out there. What I put on media is breaking all glass ceilings. It's like breaking all taboos, saying like everything I do is real. When I'm scared, when I'm nervous, when I'm crying, when I'm going through something, I'm there on media to like, you know, give you some real. But there's so much behind the scenes. So anyway, I laughed tonight because I went through that recipe, and lo and behold, at the end of it, it tasted actually pretty good. Now, from now on, you guys aren't going to believe. You're not going to take notes to my recipe shows. Oh, too funny. Oh, sunshine high as fuck. Hey, Rob, how's it going? Rob's known me for, I don't know how many years now, Rob. Is this me or is this me? People are like, oh, she's high as fuck. Even if I was. Since when is that an issue? Last time I heard it was legal in Canada to be huffy puffy. Anyway, no, I'm not. I just, I went through a tough night last night on media. I put up a for rent sign I own a couple properties in Cape Breton Island, and I put up a for rent sign in the kind of the hometown I'm from, and you know, it was targeted. It was, and I was like, why? What's the deal? But anyway, I had to get through that and realize that media is media. If you're going to put yourself out there, then you're putting yourself out there, right? So I had to wake up today and flip my mindset. I woke up this morning and said, man, how am I going to like kind of kick myself out of that, you know, kind of heavy feeling in my chest, right? And I woke up today and went for a walk along the water and just kept on repeating these positive things to myself, like, you know, you're not perfect, but you're good, you're trying, you're awesome, you know, all those things that I would tell my kids to repeat to themselves. And eventually by around 11 o'clock, 11:30, I'm like, all right, I got this, you know. And I started posting a couple things that really inspired me in a positive way. So, and then by tonight, you're seeing me in full circle now, utilizing the tools I've used. I've been through counseling in years past. I've been through cognitive behavioral therapy and learned very important tools to handling, you know, those hard moments, right? So I tap into those. I use emotional tapping therapy. I went through my personal therapy was with EMDR. It was for eye movement desensitization. And I went through 4 years of that, and I challenge you guys, if you know somebody or have somebody that's been through something very traumatic and wants to deal with it, and then just gently show them EMDR. It's covered by medical. It's on Google. And it was a treatment that was designed for war veterans, and as it would show, and science cases proven, is that after you come out of, I think it's 10 to 12 sessions of EMDR, your anxiety, panic attacks, essentially what you've been through is a lot less, if not gone. So I encourage you tonight to check that out on Google, wherever you live in the world, and utilize it, because that's what I went to. It was called the Mama Wichita program, and it was out west. It was run by Indigenous community, and the counselor, the psychiatrist, was Indigenous herself, so she would ask me what I wanted at the opening of the session. And I preferred, you know, I grew up Christian, so I wanted to pray to God, who I call Jehovah. And then I also wanted this smudge experience, you know, of feeling that and smelling that, because I grew up around Indigenous people. And so that was what she used at the beginning of every session, was my prayer to Jehovah and then the smudge. And that intertwined and helped me open up along the way to experiencing some heavy duty emotions, but it was almost what helped the wound that had been weighing me down for so long. You can only put a band-aid on something for so long, and then it kind of takes over. And I realized out west that my kids weren't getting the best of me, they were getting what was left of me. And so that's why I put myself into those. It was close to 4 years in total, but 3 years, and I came to terms with whatever. And you don't have to worry that you have to remember everything. That's not the most important part. The most important part of, you know, seeking counseling and therapy is that you have someone that's biased and neutral, and that's not, you know, paid or swayed to believe one belief or another. And that, for me, that was really super important, was the validation. If you didn't get that as a child, and if you were made to feel that everything you said was a lie, and then that kind of carried with you, you know, I ask people all the time now when I do workshops and seminars, I say, to relate to you, if a child is born missing an arm, does he know what he's missing? And I ask you, the audience, the same thing. If a child is born with no arm, does he know what he's missing? And I would get people hemming and hawing and wondering, and that's a good question. Well, we adapt to the situation that we're born into. So if you've been groomed with something that was part of, you know, your background, then as a child you would kind of go through those stages and develop these habits and brain pathways in your mind, right? And how you respond to a crisis or emotional trauma or anything in life, you might overemphasize. In my case, I found that I was always so paranoid that somebody was out to get me or do something. And after I went through my counseling, I realized, hey, wait, that's a brain pathway that I made. And to break free of that, you really need somebody that is going to be there and nudge you softly through that process. So never underestimate counseling, because 10 to 12 sessions even can do so much benefit to your life as anyone. So I hope that makes sense. I know I got off track there. Typical, eh, Becca? That's my that's a sign of a little bit of my trauma, I guess, guys, is that I tend to jump around in a conversation. Like if you're a friend of mine and we've hung out, then you know that I kind of am gregarious and happy and fun in a crowd, but then there's a moment when my friends will say you went distant. And that's just basically me coming to terms with pause, sit still, listen, observe, hold your ground. And on media, unfortunately, because COVID has really impacted us, we're not getting that human interaction, that expression, that facial expression, those things. And so it's difficult. It's a very uncomfortable zone for all of us right now to be communicating, especially with our close loved ones, right? So just know that you're not alone. My days are not always rosy. I wake up and I have really shitty days. So just know that you're not alone, okay? I'm going to check and see if we have any comments here. My pupils are huge. Really? No, I'm just happy being myself. My pupils huge. Eat your food, don't waste it. Okay, sounds good, Tyler. I'm going to make another one while I'm here. Oh, who just asked me if my pupils were huge? I just had a cookie with a little bit of oil in it. I don't. My good friend from Port Hawkesbury made me one, but I only had a little bite. You know what it is, Gloria? I've been off media for a couple days. I got a break. So I'm feeling like myself again. I got to work out, go for walks. I walked like a lot in the last couple days. Hey, Brianna! Brianna, you're running for council, right? Brianna Cabot, check out her campaign. My God, woman, you are on par. You are so inspiring to watch, Brianna. Hey, Judy. Judy's been my friend for years. Hey, Judy. Okay. Because, Judy, please do humor me. As you know, and you've been watching over the years, right? What's one thing that you could say to the audience that's watching right now? You've seen me at my darkest days, Judy. You've seen me at my good days. Is there anything that you could tell the audience right now over the past 10 years? What you've come to know about me? That would be awesome. Judy Ramsey from Hinton, Alberta. By my side through thick and thin. Hey, Charisse. Oh, Brianna, I thought you were running. Whose campaign did I see today? Anyway, it was freaking phenomenal. There's women running in Ascot. I'm so freaking happy. Boo. Gloria. Judy, perseverance. Thank you, Judy. I sell Coke? Really? Never done Coke in my life. I wouldn't know where to get it if I tried. What does boycott Rebecca Wall mean? Boycott my recipe? Gloria? Goldfish, ketchup chips. Oh, Gloria. You're pulling a typical res thing right now. Gloria, go sit down. Gloria, you were the one. You motherfucker. Gloria Peck, you were the one that messaged me so many times about how positive you felt about what I was doing, running for chief of Escazone. You invited me over. You embraced me. You like wanted a friendship, and now you're like doing this. I can't help that, Gloria. I did what I did because I love people. I did what I did because I've been through something traumatic in life, and my pathway led me to resonating with Escazone. That's why I did it. I didn't do it to mock anybody. I did it because my heart was fully in it, like 110%. It still is in it. You know I was officially nominated. So it's, you know, from here on in, man, it's, what do you want me to do? I've always been here. I never left. Need some more. I wish I had more toast, but I don't. You know what the goldfish does though? The goldfish gives you like a crunch, like. Anyway. Alright. Back to media. Wannabe. Yeah. Walking. Do you guys remember that time? Do you guys remember that time walking Eagle Woman? Oh my. That wasn't fair, you guys. That was a total prank, and you know it. And I was pranked so many times to say the wrong word. One day I was trying to tell a native lady that she was a beautiful lady, and I called her a fat turkey. And somebody tricked me. I could have got my teeth punched out for that. Not funny. Give me skill. Give me skill. Anyway. And Jordo, you did not prank me. No, I agree. But so many people did. What about the time? Okay. What about the time? Yeah, it was the walking eagle lady. It was shared viral like 523 times. My haters made me famous. Meanwhile, I was in the bathroom doing laundry, and I get these notifications one after another. No. Okay, so there was that time. Somebody did something in Escazone. They held up a bag of. It was a young woman. She's beautiful. She's blonde. She held up a bag of Kraft Dinner in the Ziploc bag with hot dogs all cut up in it and a sign that said, "Vote for Chief, Rebecca Wall." I'm telling you guys, that thing went viral. That thing was like everywhere. And I was like, I had people messaging from all over the world going, "Who are you?" I had one older lady, elder in Shubenacadie, message me and go, "I don't believe in media, but I added media just so I could see who the heck Rebecca Wall is." So what? Okay, comments. Oh my God, that was it. The Halloween costume, Kendra Christmas. Right? It was Kendra. Frig, I laughed. By that time, guys, I had been through okay, so when I first started out October 10th and went and visited Dr. Albert Marshall, he was insistent I come visit him, so I did. Done a couple projects with him, man. People were like, ah! Anyway, I've worked with Dr. Albert Marshall. I've done projects with Aboriginal Affairs. Anyway, went and sat with Dr. Albert Marshall, told him, "Hey, listen, I'm thinking of running for chief. What's your advice?" And he's like, took 2 hours to talk about everything and look at the wheel and everything. And he's like, "If this is what you feel, you've got to do this." Anyway, put that aside now. What was my point? Oh, so I announce running for chief. I say something about Kraft Dinner and hot dogs. I do some polar dips that symbolize, freedom of speech, expression. The young people catch on to it. The young people start stalking me everywhere to take pictures and autographs, and I'm just like, meanwhile, my perception is that media has exploded on me and hates my guts. Meanwhile, what was happening as a social political like experiment by accident was that the haters were making my name. I wasn't putting my name out there, but the haters were constantly, I'd be under my covers going, oh my God, what next? Like, they misinterpreted that. That's not what I meant. And then RW would be all over CBC confessions and, you know, banned. She's banned from this reserve and she's banned from that reserve. Meanwhile, I'm like, I don't even know where your reserve is. I didn't ask to go there. My haters, I didn't have to be motivated by anything. I was just so confused at some points. Like, honest to God. So here we are. How have we dropped? Am I boring you guys yet? Come on, give me some. I hate making this all about me, but I just had to come out with this and let's talk about Bedak, man. Bedak is where I moved when I was age 11, and what happened in Bedak, I moved back home in 2016 with my kids, and what happened in Bedak was something I never thought this island was capable of. And I learned to define island with a small group of people. On our island, there's no denying that there's definitely social status, racism, and nationality racism, and so forth. And as a single mom moving back to the island, I couldn't believe how much of a target I was for some obstacles. It felt like repetitive, kind of my childhood cycle, but it felt like if I needed a hand or help, immediately I was obligated by someone and saying, oh yeah, I'll give you a hand if. And so for me, that triggered these emotions of, wow, I'm this age and this is still happening. And in rural, remote areas in Canada, this is really something to take note of, is that it's so dominant, because especially in a poverty-stricken area, it's so dominant, is that you would get into this cycle as a young person, possibly of, exchanging a favor for strings attached, exchanging a favor. So when I do workshops and seminars, that's what I talk about to young people, is that's all you might be groomed to feel that you understand as a cycle, but there are other things, there are other ways to deal with this, and resilience and resources and things that young people might not know about. So anyway, I don't want to talk your ear off, but what I went through and experienced in Bedak as a single woman is not something I ever want to think anyone else would go through, but it happened, and to this day I've never told my story, my side of the story, because it's really irrelevant to the grander, bigger picture of what I'm trying to achieve as a vision on Cape Breton Island, and that's that we raise the pride and friendship and kindness and love that we're renowned for. That's why I put so much energy into making the island great again. Like, it needs much help, but you know what I mean? Anyway. Yeah, no, true. The Mi'kmaq people live that life. We go through racism every day of our lives, and it's so true. It's so true. Well, should I tell you this? Should I tell you the Bedak story or what? Are you guys ready for it, or? Well, I don't want to bore you, but I feel the sense of it's time. It's okay to tell it, so I will, with no prep. And if I cry a little bit during this, you got to be okay with that. No judgment. And if I pause and take my time, grab a tea, do some huffing and puffing, maybe throw me some hearts. I moved to Bedeck when I was age 11 from Ontario. And the family that I come from had been in a cycle of massive abuse, physical, sexual. I'm the oldest of 5 children. So I moved to Bedeck under the guise of, I would have known any better, but I moved under the guise of Jehovah's Witness to, quote, quote, help where the need was great. It was a small congregation, Kingdom Hall, Bedeck. And I absorbed myself, left the trauma that I'd been through in Ontario, and Cape Breton was actually the place I put my foot down and told said names that they were no longer sleeping in my bed. So Cape Breton became a healing place to me. Immediately I felt myself connect with Cape Breton in the sense that it was a free spirit. People were kind. And at age 11, that was really important to me developing, because I didn't have any role models. Quite the opposite. My dad was very, very obsessed about me. He would follow me all over the island. He would hide behind pillars at Jehovah's Witness assembly halls. I remember one day, we were never allowed to stay for lunch in Bedeck. I had to come home every day and walk up High Street. And it took so long, especially if I had little brothers and sisters. But I would still have to come home every day for, like, what did we get at Bedeck? 45 minutes for lunch, not even. And I would always be late every afternoon coming back to school, so then I became the target of being bullied, especially because I was Jehovah's Witness. I didn't have any role models. And one day in grade 7, one high school person that I'm still in touch with said he had never witnessed such a witch hunt on a young girl in Bedeck. I was beautiful. I don't mind saying that because I know what I was. But I was a zombie. I lost things. I left things in lockers. I forgot things lots. And one day, I was walking into grade 7 and my science teacher snapped my bra in front of the whole class. And from that day forward, I was basically the target for any sexual comments. I didn't even know, to be honest, in grade 11, I'll never forget being in home ec and not even knowing what a hangover was. I'll remember Jenny McKay. She was waiting at the top of Bunky's Hill. I don't know why she had it out for me. I think it was because I liked Corey Cox. And Jenny, if you're watching, and Jenny said something about a hangover, and I said, where's the hangover? Like, I was just so nerdy in that sense with stuff like that. But anyway, my industrial arts teacher picked me up and slammed me down on a desk. Because I didn't have role models, I didn't have anybody looking out for me. I moved from Bedeck. My parents had a big house in Big Bedeck that they had got low-wage subsidy, something of that nature, and my dad moved back out east, and my mom decided to do the same, but in a separate direction, so I went out west. I was 15 years old. I hadn't a clue how to live on my own. But they left the whole house and all the furniture to me in Big Bedeck. And I had to just walk away from that whole house, that empty house. And I moved out west, and I lived with a family for a little bit, another Jehovah's Witness family. Didn't work out. So at age 15, going into 16, I was living on my own in a basement apartment out in BC, British Columbia. And I didn't want to be on social assistance, so I bought a squeegee and a pole. And this is where my entrepreneurship began. I bought a squeegee and a pole, and I started washing windows and meeting people and introducing myself. And within a month, I had a large network of business people that to this day are still on my Facebook profile. And that's how I pulled myself through to graduation. I worked at Petro-Canada pumping gas. And then I began, I got married at a very young age to, he was my good friend, still is my good friend. And we had kids. And he was more of a father figure, I think, to me in many ways. I remember living out in a cabin no bigger than 10 by 10 out in the bush in the middle of nowhere in British Columbia, and I had, being that young, I just didn't know the bills, utilities, and the way it all worked, and my power went out and I had no heat, and my friend who I married would help me, you know, figure all that out and get all organized. And funny story, people back there will never forget me as the entrepreneur, the wild free spirit that I was. They'll never forget me getting my first, I bought my first car. Please don't take offense by this. My friends called it the Indian car because I bought it for $50 from a guy, and I don't even know how the papers were transferred. And it was a big, long, like Cadillac. It was mustard yellow, and I bought it for $50. And when I got it home, I opened the trunk, and there was a big case of beer in it. And I've been friends with First Nation people my entire life, and it was just so funny that I'll never forget that story. I was coming back, so anyway, I moved from out west back home to Ontario. I wanted to be near my brothers and sisters, and I moved to, I knew that things were not going good at home where I had moved in with my dad for even a bit. It was just, I hadn't come to terms yet with what had happened, and anyway, I went away to a wedding in Montreal, and I had $50 left in my pocket, and on the way home on the bus, I got off the bus in Toronto. I was 19 years old, and I got off the bus, and I bought a hot dog, and I sat on the bench, and I thought, if homeless people can do it, I can do it for one night, whatever I have to do, till I find a place to rent. So Toronto and North York and Shepherd is where I sat on a bench, and these young girls from a university called and said, you know, come. There were Portuguese and all different languages, and I was there, and they had their names all over everything. There was names on toilet paper rolls, there was names on a bag of rice, there was names on, like, literally everything in the house, and I didn't have any money. So, funny story, and it's just funny sharing this with you. I don't even know how many viewers are watching, but it feels good to just talk, is that I would toilet paper. I would see if I could take squares of toilet paper from where the name wasn't written so that nobody would notice. And rice, I would take such little rice and live off of it just to get by. And I worked at Black's Photography in the North York Shepherd Mall in Toronto. And it was, anyway, so I went through those years, and I moved back out west when I met my friend who was helping me with everything, move forward now. We were married for 15 years about roughly, and we, anyway, we're on good terms, and I moved back to Cape Breton. I knew that this was going to be the last leg of my kind of healing journey, was to move back to Cape Breton, where so many things had inspired me. My love of music, creativity, art, free expression, kindness. The wood stove and teapot has always had more of an analytical meaning to me than anything else, just because people open their doors, and it was different here. And then that's why I put so much emphasis, is because it's such a different place. I know we have our troubles, but anyway. So I moved back to Cape Breton Island in 2016, and here's where the story gets a little rough. Let's brings us to Bedeck. So I moved November 2016, and I had been out here for Celtic Colors. With my good friend, I went to school with in Bedeck. I had been out here with him in Celtic Colors and brought my kids. And then I knew at Celtic Colors it was time to move back home. I kept on having dreams and visions over the past 10, 15 years that eventually at some point I would be back home in Cape Breton. So, bring us to 2016. I move in, and before I do, I leave a note with this older man that owns a farmhouse in Bedeck, and I say, hey, I know you use it for tourism, but if you are willing to rent it for the winter season, off season, you know, I would be glad, my kids and I. And
So he said yes, and I said I'd pay you whatever you want for rent, and so I did. Nearing the end of those 6 months terms, so brings us from January to June of 2017, I noticed the owner of the house was stopping by so much, trying to drop off, gifts and everything, to the point where I just wasn't comfortable. I would never let anybody in the house, and I would be like, thank you, and I just felt like there was some sort of obligatory, string, so to speak, and so I kind of nipped that in the bud. And I noticed near the end of the 6 month term that, and I paid rent, everything had been paid, 4 kids, along comes every once in a while child services knocking on my door, and I'm thinking, oh, well, that's interesting. Why? Anyway, I couldn't understand what was happening, and it was like a tension, a dark heavy that was getting heavier as I got closer to my term of expiring that rental. And so I started to look around for places to rent, and every time I would talk to somebody in the 5th, nearing the 6th month, they would say, no, it's not, they'd say yes, but then they'd say, no, it's not available. So it just felt like every arm I was putting out wasn't receptive, and it was really odd. Then I called rental tenancy to share with them what I was experiencing, and know that it may possibly I was up for something, a loophole, and they said, whatever you do, I'll never forget the girl in Port Hawkesbury. She said, whatever you do, make sure you take pictures of every nook and cranny, dishes, pillows, blankets, everything, so that you're leaving the house in good terms and nothing can be held against you. So I did that. I have a lady in Port Hood who's like a mother to me. She's Dutch. She's very meticulous about her cleaning. She's been my mentor for years. And she came up along with some local ladies in Bedak, and we made the farmhouse meticulous. We touched up the chairs, if the kids had left any scratches on anything, so forth. Sorry, I get a lump in my throat. I took pictures of everything, and it was beautiful. And 5 days later, iCloud photos, I kept them, of course. My iCloud photos are dated. 5 days later, the landlord, owner of the house, started bullying, character assassinating online, saying that the Jehovah's Witness kids and her mother had left the house in a decrepit state. But, sorry, I skipped ahead one part. My mom from Port Hood and I came in the day to finalize everything, leave the key, and we noticed that there was old, dead, dried mice in different places throughout the house, in the toilet, on the bed. And so my mom, being a farm woman herself, said, what's going on here? We just literally left the house in meticulous condition. These are old mice from traps, which I wouldn't have known. It was only her. So we were so confused. But we buttoned up the house. I left a note with the landlord saying, I have your laundry. We're just completing it. The washing machine wasn't working. The plumbing wasn't working. So I went and got it done. And 3 days later, I get a text saying, you owe me $3,000. For what? The mattresses are pissed on. This is done. And I thought, no, there's no way. There's pictures of bone white mattresses. There's pictures of everything in excellent condition. What on earth are you speaking about? But I kind of knew this was happening, and rental tenancy knew it was happening. So then it did go to rental tenancy, and the said person was found. I hate bringing this story up, but I have to be full out transparent with it. Said person was found faltering with photos and pictures and evidence because the iCloud pictures were already done. Leads us to a property down the road. I didn't know where to go, and it was at that point that I realized there was somebody kind of sabotaging the opportunity to rent a place anyplace else, and it was really concerning me. And my mom in Port Hood, and she said, well, we need to do something about it. So she actually helped me purchase an RV home for me and the kids, and we were going to go live on their property in Port Hood. But then this property on the Bay Road came up with a joint driveway with somebody else, another relative, and I said, okay, well, let's check into it. This property's been sitting for years, and for some reason, anytime I inquired about a place to buy from realtors in Bedeck, I was turned down and said, no, it's not the property for you, it's not for you, it's not for you. And I'm like, okay. I was really starting to feel awkward about the situation. So I'm suggested by a local lady in Bedeck, hey, there's this property, Big Bedeck Road. She likely will take rent for putting your RV on her land. It's been sitting there for years. Check it out. So I did. I called the owners, and they sent me an email saying, yes, we've agreed. You can definitely go and put your RV there and pay rent a month. And I inquired even further. I said, well, I'm actually, a couple weeks later, I said, I'm actually interested in this property. I mean, the grass has overgrown the house. It's in quite a poor state, but I'm willing to pay a building inspection to see what this would take to fix it up, enhance it. And the lady wrote back and said, yeah, let me check with my brothers and sisters and for sure. So she wrote back. She said, yeah, go ahead. So I got the building inspection done. I found out exactly what needed to be done. And I thought, oh, well, this isn't that bad. I can wrap my hand around doing this. It's a perfect place for the kids. We're near the water. We're right beside a resort, but we're far enough away. Like, it was perfect, close enough to the village of Bedeck. So I start to invest money, and I spend over, approximately $5,000 of my own money with her permission to fix up the place, to enhance it, because the cabin was even left open. It was never locked. So I went in there and invested my own money to fix up the cabin, put pillars under the foundation because it was sinking in, the walls, rip up the floors, with understanding that if I wasn't approved, it wouldn't be mine to keep. But I went in June of that year, and people knew I was looking at the house to buy, and I applied for a mortgage. I felt I was ready. I had worked so hard to build a credit of my own, and I felt I was ready, and I had substantial proof. I was the Thrive girl with the vitamin patches. I was doing incredibly well with network marketing, pissing off a few people in Cape Breton, yep, for sure, but it had never been here, so to speak, so it was just one of those things that was new and very hard for people to adapt to, this girl being on media all the time, and so I did definitely get some slashback for sure. That being said, I fixed up the house, put in a power barn, heat, electrical, I forget what it's called, a baby barn, attached hydro to the house, everything. On June the 18th, I believe it was, I went into the bank there in Bedeck. I applied for a mortgage. And the lady came back and said, yes, you're approved. Shook my hand, gave me mortgage papers. I was extremely happy. This was my first home, my first purchase. I had the down payment, $10,000. Everything was rocking. And then 3 days later, I get a phone call on a Monday. And it's the bank officer at the bank. And she's like, I hate to tell you, and it's all, these phone calls are all recorded. Rebecca, I hate to tell you this, but unfortunately we have to revoke your mortgage. Is it revoke? What does revoke mean? We have to take your mortgage back. I said, we've just been through everything. You congratulated me. We're set to go. What's going on here? I'm sorry, this conversation is closed. We have to revoke your mortgage. Okay. I was in shock. 30 minutes later, my realtors get a message from the selling realtor saying Rebecca's offer to buy this house has been denied. There was another offer prior to hers. And we're all looking at each other going, how's that? Nobody's ever even looked at this place. It's been unmaintained. It's, what? Why didn't the owner say something? Like, what's going on here? So I found that really, my chest is pounding right now as we speak. I found that really difficult because what I knew that meant in the middle of tourism season is that the kids and I, if this all fell through, the kids and I were going to have to find a place to live. And have fun with that in the middle of tourism season in Cape Breton. There's next to nothing. Nothing. And because my previous landlord had really tried to sabotage my success in finding a place, there was no chance of finding anything. So then I get, on top of all that, I'm very successful at this time with those vitamin patches, Thrive, and I get a message from the owner of the pharmacy in Bedeck, and he says this in exact words: I suggest you stop selling Thrive in our area. I said, is that a threat? What's going on here? I just suggest you stop selling Thrive in our area. And then he begins to put up Facebook posts, horrific Facebook posts with malicious things in it about Thrive. And so I left it alone. I didn't fight it. I just couldn't figure out what was going on. Then my girlfriends who had bought Thrive and were feeling absolutely incredible with it and just loved it, they were nurses in the seniors home in Bedak. They started calling me going, I need to get a refund. I need to get a refund. Why? I'm basically being threatened that if I don't stop buying Thrive from you, I'm like, it's just not good. It's negative tension. I was blown away and my heart sunk. I'm like, what? What is going on? But again, the most important thing to me at that time wasn't the Thrive. It was the fact that I had applied for a mortgage, been approved, been revoked, and then this ghost offer coming through for somebody else who put an offer on it. So I knew in rental tenancy agreements that I still had so many days to get out, so I decided to fight this. And the owners came to the house one night. They came with the police. And said, you have to be out of here. And I said, no, this is a civil rights issue. If you want to take me to court, you have to do it the proper way, which is rental tenancy. And you've up to date, have all your rent paid. I've done everything. I've enhanced the home. I've done everything. And oddly enough, you want me out. Why am I not allowed to purchase this home? I don't understand. I didn't understand. And they said, well, we have another offer on it. Okay. So I knew that I had so many days, and which I did. We went through rental tenancy, and I basically was called a conspiracy theorist, you know, everything else. And I said, this seems like there's discrimination and prejudice involved, and I don't know what's going on. The local owner of the pizza shop even came up to me and my kids, and we buy pizza there every month, $100, you know, once a month is my treat for the kids. And just out of whatever came up and said, Rebecca, I just can't do this anymore. And because there was so much drama and tension going on in Bedak with this situation, that it was putting stress on everyone. And no one knew what the cause of it was. So come forward to, where was I? So yeah, the revoked mortgage. And again, I have all the paperwork, phone recordings, everything. I'm trying to give you the facts, no opinions. Let you decide that for yourself. Come along to December 20, in the middle of winter, December 2018. And the kids and I are there. We've got a wood stove. It's heated. We're doing well. I'm still paying rent faithfully. Even though it's a mess, you know, you got to get out of there. And I go to Sydney Court to finally have my one day in Supreme Court. And I stand before the judge. Harvey Realties at this time had their own lawyer. Betty Menzies was there, Catherine Harvey was there in the pews behind me, and I stood for myself, and all I wanted was that one day to say what I had to say about this property and what had happened and why I was so confused. And basically the judge didn't even listen to anything. He just said, your conspiracies are off, you're this, you're that, and the other thing. And the kids and I, the final thing was we were evicted in the middle of winter on March the 18th. The kids and I thankfully found a place in Port Hawkesbury and rent-to-own situation, and we lived there. But the calls kept coming from different agencies, and for no reason other than just kind of hate, I would have to attest it to. You know, I couldn't make sense of why I was becoming the target of so many things in Cape Breton, because I had fought, because I had stood up for myself, because I had said, anyway, the connection to this being is that the selling realtor of the property that I was evicted off of is the wife of the science teacher who pulled my bra strap in grade 7. And is also a story that has been, I don't even want to get into that backstory, but this is where the bullying started coming from. It felt like people were looking at me going, I knew more than I thought when I didn't know anything. I didn't know what had I had no connection to anything negative happening in Cape Breton. Nothing. All I knew was that I came here at age 11, and even though my family had been, you know, a write-off in so many departments, I knew that I would go out and shovel driveways in Bedeque. I would do anything to keep my entrepreneur spirit going and my spirit up. And I was Jehovah's Witness. I would walk for miles in cheap Walmart sandals and just talk about the Bible with people along Bedeque Bay Road. So that to me was such a warm, nurturing memory for me. So for me to move back with my kids, this was where the strength was going to come from. This was where it was going to lead to my final healing, so to speak, if that makes sense. I remember walking in all different directions, just talking to people about, you know, the Bible and trying to be a positive influence, right? Yeah, oh, the important part of the story. My brain jumps when I'm telling stories. So the facts are that we were evicted, we moved to Port Hood, and then in court, I was served with the papers that showed I had to be off the property within 10 days because there was a name of Daryl Roberts on the property agreement, you know, where I don't know if that's a fake name or whatever, but anyway, it was a name, and it said that this guy was going to get this place pending financing. So I took it for what it's worth. But I had then all of a sudden I remembered I met the person that was on the ghost offer, a very wealthy man, and I'm thinking, pending financing? What? Why is that a clause? He doesn't. Anyway, so I left it. I didn't question it. I just knew that the kids and I had to move into a place, you know, and my lawyer at that time said, there's something going on in Bedeque and you need to get out of there. So I said, okay. Why? What on earth did I do? So anyway, no questions asked. My kids came first. They were my priority, so Port Hawkesbury it was. Anyway, here's the most important part, is the house, after I moved out, was back on the market, MLS, in 10 days. The house ended up selling to an older couple in Bedeque. They tore the house down that I invested that money into, which is my loss. I knew that was going to be my loss anyway, no matter what. But the couple concerning things is the owners of the house were RCMP officers, and the guy that was in charge, the construction company in Bedeque that was in charge of demolishing the house under their permission, we both got an email, and that one email would have saved the court case, and the email read like this. I've repeated it so many times in my head. I said to the owners, do I have permission to tear the house down if the building inspection says it's not worth it? Please write back and, you know, sign and so forth. Yes, you do, and please forward a copy to the local construction company in Bedeque so that they have permission to do that. He got a copy, I got a copy. It's all on document history that that email no longer is in our servers. Which is a hard thing to accept. Maybe I lost it, it's just a coincidence that those two emails are not anywhere to be found, and that was the one email that would have buffered. I still could have been kicked out, who knows what, right? But it would have buffered the case. I wasn't squatting on land. I wasn't doing anything. I was living my life and doing everything according to the emails, the communication back and forth. So the bullying from the previous landlord has continued, you know, to this day. I mean, the mattresses, he put pictures of mattresses with yellow hand marks all down the mattresses. And I had so many friends that were nurses that said if that was a urine stain, it would be like a urine stain of like a ring. It wouldn't be hand marks. And the fact that, you know, Jehovah's Witness was attached to that kind of character assassination, and Rebecca's dirty, she's an unfit mother, she's this, she's that. I didn't know what to think or do or feel. And then it kind of just led to this, because I was outnumbered, it kind of just led to this ongoing bullying. And this ongoing feeling the right to call whatever agency, you know, muzzle her, shut her up, you know, make her surrender, you know, like, it's unfortunate and it's sad that this is a story in rural Canada, but it's the truth of sometimes how things go, and it's healing for me to tell this. As you notice, I didn't get into into a lot of details, but I'm just giving you that side of the story. And so my passion is fueled from not only what I've been through as a young child, but also what I've most recently experienced. And the fact that I've spent so many years in the school district and intercity schools and, you know, working with families that are up against nationality, racism, and so forth, I've kind of been there as a sounding board and a program initiative person to not fix a solution, but find resources to deal with things constantly. It's like maneuvering, navigating people to the right resources, right? But because I was encountering this myself, and I didn't want to air my laundry on, or I didn't want to air my dirty laundry on Facebook, because everyone's connected here. You know, sometimes people feel obligated to hate or like someone because they're related to someone. I've heard of so many times during a political campaign where someone will say they're putting up a sign for someone, but really they're not. They're voting for somebody else because of that fear and tension, right? So moving to an area like this where, yeah, I am out there. I'm loud and proud on media. I'm out there talking and gabbing and whatever. It was new for an area like this, especially when we all say come across Cape Breton and it's like 100 years behind. I agree. But that stirred up in me this like fearless passion to initiate change. And maybe that's, who knows, have I failed? Have I made mistakes along the way? Damn rights I have. Have I pissed people off? Yes, I have. Have people misread me? Yes, I have. I don't like to believe in astrology, but as Scorpio women, we tend to get misread quite a bit. You know, but there's parts of my story too. I haven't even told you everything, but there's parts of my story too you don't know. And we don't know about each other. And my whole goal and purpose and love and passion for life was to bring my kids to an area that has so much potential. That's it. That's the Bedeck story. And don't know what else to say. Thanks, Kirsten. A couple proud things I did during that whole thing is I'll never forget. In Sydney, it was the last $50 to my name, but I stopped in at City Print. Was it City Print? Or there was a print shop on the main street, and the judge told me, or the court people told me, you have basically 24 hours to get your case together and get it commissioned by an oath, like an oath person that stamps it, puts a commissioner stamp on it. And I thank that business so much to this day. We laugh about it a little bit, but not. I had to bind it in one of those things that has the coils around it. And the affidavit of the bullying that I had encountered in Bedeck and what my kids and I had been through. And I'm not trying to play the victim here, okay? Like, please know that. I've fucked up lots in my life and I've been a bitch too, but I'm not trying to play the victim. I'm just trying to share that what happened in Bedeck and the things that we experienced by officials in different departments and scare tactics was frightening. And the affidavit is easily like this thick, and each section is commissioned by an oath person. And my mom, who I call her in Port Hood, she's like, you have to write a book. And I'm like, I will. But Ripple Effects was birthed from that story, and I'll tell you why. When you're in a rural area in Canada, it's very difficult unless you know people and have connections to kind of break through the old boys club, the things that are standard and stubborn and kind of part of the way. And so I knew that the only way I was going to make these connections as a mother, like, that was not wealthy and rich, I didn't have, you know, university initials beside my name, was to put myself out there in a ripple effect sort of way. And how else best to get to know somebody than to ask them questions, to interview them, right? My portfolio grew so fast in Bedeck because I was interviewing people that had never had a voice, and much like me, I was never, till this day, I never told my story in Bedeck. This is the first day. I had to live through 4 years of letting people say and do whatever they wanted on media and know that it wasn't my time yet because I was building ripple effects. It was more important that I listened to the voices of other people than it was my own story. If I had told my story too soon, it would just sound like that's all I did ripple effects for, was to have my day in the sun and tell my story, right? So I had to live through and keep my mouth shut and endure whatever came my way for 4 years. It wasn't until, but quite quickly, call it a blessing from God, call it nudge, call it whatever, my network connections grew so fast that that's how Wayne Crusada and Whitney Peer found out about me and asked me to merge his company. He was the first person on Cape Breton Island, Cape Breton Live TV, and he insisted, and I was stubborn, typical Scorpio. I'm like, you've got an older audience. I'm selling stuff. I'm selling vitamin patches. Like, hello, that's where my money's going to come from. And Wayne was able to, with his wisdom, before he passed away in palliative care, humble me to my knees and say, you don't have a choice in this. I'm asking you to take over Cape Breton Live TV. Because he had witnessed, call it two-eyed seeing again. He had witnessed what I had done with no equipment. He had all the equipment, big, old, luggish, heavy stuff. And me doing it, you know, just in my office, in my house, with little kids in the background. So Wayne said, I need you to take this on. No money, no nothing. I didn't get paid. I didn't get any equipment. I didn't want any equipment, right? But Ripple Effects was birthed because I could sense that if that was happening to me at this age, rest assured it was happening, and it's been kind of an ongoing perpetuous cycle. I always say that word, but it's been a cycle in rural Canada. And our young people obviously are diving into that cycle with, you know, one favor, like they need help. Like, you know, I don't want to, again, sound braggy or showy or whatever, but I've always left my home open for young people that are too old for the foster system, but too young to be fully on their own. I've always said, you know, you need a place to stay and you need whatever. All I ask is no wild stuff and whatever. Like, my whole life has been dedicated and committed to youths and saving them or enhancing the quality of life. And so Ripple Effects, you asked me, where did that come from? It came, you can't get justice for everything in life. You fight justice sometimes in the court system. And I had to decide between my kids or me. Was I going to fight something that was going to take 10, maybe 15 years of my life and lose the best years of life with my kids? Or was I just going to let go and bow out gracefully and hope that one day everything would make sense? That my example would lead to inspiring someone else or help someone else. If that came from a productive, positive result from what I've been through, I consider myself grateful, lucky, proud, and happy, and honored and humbled. But if I've spent 10 years in the court system burning out on both ends and my kids missing the best of me, I would have felt really shitty at the end of things, especially for what? So be rest assured that when you judge somebody on media that's possibly getting targeted or hit hard in a small community or there's lots more to the story you likely don't know. There's lots more of ins and outs and everything else. So young people, if you're watching this, don't feel like you're alone. Don't feel like you don't have any resources. I have all the resources to send to somebody if they're ever experiencing cyberbullying, harassment, anything of that nature. Please, by all means, reach out. And I am no pro, I'm not the expert, but I'll send you everything where it's just a phone call away to ask for help and support. I know that was long-winded. Thank you. I love you. Like I said, my life isn't always roses and peaches, but I felt tonight when somebody asked, I forget who it was, Kirsten, I think, I thought it was time to share. Okay? No troll comments on this post. I didn't ask you to believe my side. I didn't ask anything. I just am sharing my side. Okay, guys? Thank you for watching, and I'm a little exhausted, so I'm going to tap out now. Toodles.